In his first 32 games for Arsenal, he scored more goals than Cherish did and more goals than Dennis Bergkamp did. Kai Havertz, he's a very good footballer. Do you know what I mean? He scored a winning goal in Champions League final, like gets it, whatever. He missed a sitter in the first minute with his header. If that was Gyokeres, he'd have been getting absolutely
so many different angles of that.
Wouldn't he? He'd have been absolutely sorted.
If Gyokeres finds his form now in the business end of the season, who cares what happened earlier on?
No.
You know, we're top of the league.
Goals, assists. I think he's a complete midfielder in the making, and I genuinely think he's one of the best sixes in the world.
He's one for Spain. If there's a winning in him, there's that winning mentality.
Just go out there and keep doing what we're doing, man. Just prove these people wrong, man. We got a parade to do, mate.
But this is the pressure that you want. This is where we've been building for the 5 full-year seasons we've had under Arteta. This is where we are now.
Hello, I'm Nick Bright and welcome to Inside Gooners, bringing you all the latest news and reaction from the mighty Arsenal. And joining me this week is former Arsenal winger Perry Groves and broadcaster CJ, also known as Deluded Gooner. And I'm delighted to say this show is sponsored by BetMGM. Download the app or visit betmgm.co.uk, 18 plus, gambleaware.org. Please gamble responsibly. Listen, boys, it's another win for the Arsenal and a convincing one against Sunderland, Perry. How are you feeling today?
Yeah, we're just chalking off the games. That's what it is, isn't it? I was lucky enough to be at the game on Saturday. 3-0 looks like it was comfortable, but when you're in the stadium and you get that nervy feeling, it wasn't as comfortable. Obviously, after Gyokeres scored, everybody calmed down a little bit, his first goal. And there's always big moments in games. And the big moment in that game was when David Raya came out, because he looked a little bit shaky on Saturday. When he comes out for the cross and he gives it the Arnold Palmer and palms it 3 times and it drops to Brobby, he should have scored. And obviously Kai Havertz gets back, don't know if it's going in or not. So, say big moments in games, and obviously we got through that one. And then it was whether we could, because Sunderland didn't just sit deep and just go, right, you're right. They actually pressed. They came to press us. And I was getting a bit frustrated because I wanted Havertz and Jesus to change over, because we needed to go longer a little bit quicker. Do you know what I mean? And then we wasn't. We was sort of a little bit slow in our build-up. But then when Zubimendi scores, which is like a weldy, do you know what I mean? When he just cuts it and then it goes off the post, and then it's all right, just getting 1-0 up at half-time, and then we see where it goes. So, it's just chalking it off because Sunderland are decent. Yeah,
they always look better off the post as well, don't they? CJ, for you, Perry kind of puts it in a really nice way there, just chalking off the games. These games, especially at Emirates Stadium, I know Man United beat us there, and for me, that's a massive blip. But I look at it like these games, we've got to make sure we win these home games and, do what we're doing.
It always builds confidence winning at home. Our home record is quite good. Unfortunately, we lost to Man United, which I'm sure in your WhatsApp groups you heard the banter and whatnot. But we reacted quickly now. Going into the Sunderland game, obviously, Sunderland are a great side. They actually came to play football. They're difficult to break down and things of that ilk. And I think we did well, man. As Perry said, it's always nice to see a wonder goal. That kind of calms down the nerves. Gyokeres off the bench. Obviously, his name is always being spoken about. Lovely to see him score. Martinelli also did well. It's just about chalking them off. Obviously, we walked into the week knowing we've got a 6-point gap. We've handled business. We've left the weekend the same way we walked into it. So just keep going, man. Just keep putting points on the board.
Well, let's talk about Victor Gyokeres then. And Perry, I think I saw a stat floating around that no player has scored more goals in 2026 than Victor Gyokeres. And it feels like there's still this massive kind of doubt around him amongst the football community and Arsenal fans, to be honest. But how do you think he got on, and how do you see him kicking on for the rest of the season?
Well, I've been chairman of Gyokeres' fan club since he came. And there's been a lot of negativity from a lot of ex-players, ex-centre forwards, and I just said he needed time to settle in. He was Sporting Lisbon's main man, so he sort of ruled the roost in there and he told players what he wanted. You come to you're a different level and you're judged on a different level. And you said about the stat there, the other one is, in his first 32 games for Arsenal, he scored more goals than Cherish did and more goals than Dennis Bergkamp did. Wow. One was 11, one was 10. And if you remember when they first came, especially Henry, the press was on him. Even the fans were on him. I remember Pires when he first came, the first 9, 10 games, the fans weren't having him. But you've got to go with what your eyes are telling you. And with Gyokeres, he had to get used to the way that because Arteta is very controlled in the way that we play, and you have to take in a lot of information. But also, because he wasn't feeling confident, he wasn't demanding from his teammates. When he's Sporting Lisbon, he'd be saying to midfield players, "Oi, get it in the channels lively, get it up to me, wingers in the wide areas, get the ball in the box." But because he hasn't got that stature and he's just grown into it, and I saw a different body language when he came on. I saw someone who looked an inch or 2 inches a little bit taller. A couple of times it came into him, he backed in and he held it up really well, and he linked up the play. And the 2 goals that he got are typical Gyokeres goals, because the first one is good build-up play, Trossard into Havertz and as he's fallen over, he sort of sweeps it in. And the second one is, he sees Martinelli go through and he's like, "Oh, I'm centre forward here. I want to," and people say it's a tap-in, but you have to be in the right position at the right time. So I know that he can only get better, and he's our top scorer. He's got 13 goals. He said there he's top scorer in 2026. So he's only he can only improve, and he gives us a miles different outlet. Exactly what he did when he came on. So about going long. When he came on, then we could go long and we get in the channels, and then Sunderland then sit a little bit deeper.
How key do you both think, and CJ, I'll come to you first on this, just how key do you think Kai Havertz is in this emergence of form for Viktor Gyokeres? Because we've seen them play together a couple of times now. Havertz is playing just behind, because there was a lot of talk about, Havertz playing up front. Will he get in the team ahead of Viktor Gyokeres? But a lot of the time he's playing behind now. Do you think he's key to Gyokeres' success for the rest of the season?
They both love playing together, Kai Havertz and Gyokeres. They're a bit similar in that, they're physical, they can go long. It's like when one drops, the other one kind of clocks the other one's game to go long. I personally think we've needed a bit of a switch up. I know Martin Odegaard's had a knock and been injured, but I do think we need to be a bit more unpredictable. And I do think we're getting into that season when if players are in a purple patch or players do look confident, simply put, you've got to get them in the side, man. And I think Perry's right in that you can see Gyokeres every game, he's getting more and more demanding of his teammates. He's accepted now, okay, I'm an Arsenal footballer. Obviously, he's not silly. He knows how difficult it is to represent this massive club. But I guess only unless you've walked into those shoes, especially in the present day with social media and the clamour for a striker, you could understand that. For me, I think the spark happened against Inter Milan because it sounds silly, but it's even the way he's celebrating the goals. And, when he scored against Inter Milan, it was like a weight lifted off his shoulders. So long may it continue. And I just hope that the same negatives that were said about the man, you give him the same energy because he deserves all the plaudits. He should be one of the first names on the team sheet, Nick.
Do you know what happens is it's where players are judged differently. All Arsenal fans and the media are having Kai Havertz because they know that he's a very good footballer. Do you know what I mean? He scored a winning goal in Champions League final, gets it, whatever. He missed a sitter in the first minute with his header against Sunderland, right? If that was Gyokeres, he'd have been getting absolutely
so many different angles of that,
wouldn't he? He'd have been absolutely slaughtered. But you look at that and you go, and even Kai Havertz is really good in the air, and he missed it. And it is a sitter, right? You go, he's going to bring other things to the game. Say, Gyokeres would have got absolutely slaughtered, absolutely hammered. And he's like, actually, maybe what he needs now is the narrative is he's scoring goals against teams that are promoted or in the middle tier or whatever. He needs a big goal, do you know what I mean, in a big game. And then that will just, again, quieten the noise down a bit.
North London derby on the horizon. I mean,
no, I said big game.
Yeah, of course. You did say small teams to score against. Yeah, fair enough. It's interesting what you say, actually, Perry, because you've played with some legendary Arsenal strikers. And, when you talk about them demanding the ball from the midfielders, we didn't necessarily see that from Viktor Gyokeres. What do you think's changed? Do you think Arteta has had a word with him? Do you think maybe he's had a word, Viktor Gyokeres has had a word with the midfielders? What do you think, potentially, without being in the dressing room, what do you think has happened?
I think there was another turning point was the penalty up at Everton. Because I know people say it's just a penalty, but Man City had won before that. We had to beat Everton. And everybody's got that, and it's Odegaard giving Gyokeres, and actually the captain, all the players going, there you go, mate, we trust you. Do you know what I mean? We trust you. But he smashed it down the middle of the goal. People think that's easy. Trust me.
It's not.
Because again, you imagine if he'd have missed it.
Takes nerve.
We had a bit of history of that before, remember when we give it to Kai Havertz, but that was at Bournemouth, and you're 3-0 up. And it was like, we need you to score because we need you to give confidence. So it's just been a slow sort of build-up to getting his confidence back. And I played with... The level you're judged at as a centre forward is even more scrutinous now because of all the Like now, if you're a midfield player and you have a 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 game, it's all right. If you're Gyokeres and you bring players into the game but you don't score for 2 or 3, that is the main stat, isn't it? So that's how you're judged. And Alan Smith came and he didn't score for his first 3 games. And in all the papers, it was Smudge is a waste of money, Arsenal are in for Kerry Dixon. And you're like, he's like, it's only 3 games.
Yeah.
Now, if you do that for Leicester, which he was playing for, all just Leicester fans, they care, but the big media doesn't care. Gyokeres doing it for Sporting Lisbon, no one really notices or cares. You do it for Arsenal, and then they dropped Charlie Nicholas. I played up front with Smudge. You got a hat-trick against Portsmouth at home, and then went on to be one of Arsenal's great. So I saved Alan Smith's career every time I say, but he went on to be one of Arsenal's all-time great centre-forwards. Yeah. But even then, as he said, the scrutiny is unreal. But now I think with Gyokeres, because he's got his brace, it will just, you can tell that you feel tense. Whether if your fans are getting on your back, you're getting, now with social media, all the players do read the social media, or their people read the social media. And when it's not flowing, you could tell that he was just tense.
You're overthinking.
And exactly. And then through your head, you're not playing naturally. Now I just think he's starting to play like he was playing for Sporting Lisbon. Do you know what I mean? And he will start to be more demanding. He's got 100%. He's got the respect of the players and the manager, because Arteta always says he's working his socks off in training, got a good attitude. So the players will want you to do well.
Declan Rice said that as well. Yeah. So he's always had his teammates' trust. And one thing that I think Gyokeres has never been given is credit. He works his socks off. Like he's always done all the other facets of what Mikel Arteta has wanted. So naturally, it's all filled into place. Confidence is key for any footballer, much less a striker. I did feel sorry for Gyokeres because, as Perry mentioned, you know the social media, you know the Arsenal scrutiny. I do think people are a bit naive and ignorant when it comes to Gyokeres. Granted, he hasn't got the prettiest of playing style, but we've needed someone to just put the ball in the back of the net. And I like his ugly finishes because that's something that's going to be our bread and butter, especially going into the tail end of the season. So shout out Gyokeres.
You know, he's never ever going to be someone who comes in, like Havertz, who links it up, who gets it, and he's got a really soft touch, and he lays it off, and he spins, and he sees the pass. That's not him. And I don't care. I've said before, I don't give a rat's backside if he doesn't score from now to the end of the season, and we win the Premier League or the Champions League or both. Who cares? Nobody cares.
It's all about, the Winter Olympics is on at the moment, of course, and it's like Olympic cycle, you know what I mean? If Gyokeres finds his form now in the business end of the season, who cares what happened earlier on? No. We're top of the league, 6 points clear. It's not where he starts, where he finishes. Exactly.
I'll say one thing I thought we changed really well on Saturday against Sunderland as well is, I don't think in this season we've been shooting enough from distance. We haven't been shooting enough from like 20, 25, because teams do sit deep. Obviously we go wide, we come back in, we go wide. We're trying to look for the intricate passes. If you think about in the first half on Saturday, Declan Rice had a curler, missed by an inch. Kai Havertz had a curler missed by an inch. And then Zubimendi scores. So I think they've been working on, we're going to start shooting from distance. And then what happens then, if you do, then in the opposition's mind, they think, we've got to come and close down. And then you can start playing your little passes. Because you look at the technical players that we have, we've got very good technical players. So we should be shooting more from distance.
And they've got the ability and the competence to do it. How many times have we seen long-range efforts go in this season? We've seen it a couple of times. So especially when it comes down to breaking low blocks and being a bit unpredictable, can only be helpful going into the end of the season.
Do you know what as well? The crowd get excited.
Yeah,
of course.
The crowd, instead of being, and it can get quiet and a bit sort of anxious, the crowd then go, and it raises everybody.
And it gasses you as a player.
Sure. Just talking about, goals from outside the box, having said what you just said there, Perry, Arsenal scored 8 from outside the box this season. Only Villa and Bournemouth, both on 11, have scored more, which is surprising. But Arteta was asked in his press conference, wasn't he, about goals from outside the box? Because I think there's a stat floating around again where it's one of the lowest ever in the Premier League because, everyone's trying to walk it in now. But we saw Manchester United scored 2 bangers against us from outside the box. So, there is a profit or, a good reason to be shooting from outside the box because everybody's really good at organised in defence at the back now. If you can shoot from outside the box, you can profit from it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Provokes chaos.
Yeah. And the ball moves now. Yeah. The player's technique now, you either bend it with the outside of your foot when I was playing or with the instep, or now they go for the valve or whatever it is, and they put their foot through the ball and it actually moves both ways. When I played, the old the Adidas Tango, which is the best ball ever, by the way, that just bent one way or it bent the other. This one actually can move and bend at the last minute, can't it? So, as we saw with Szoboszlai's free kick.
Yeah. Great example.
I mean, we'll get on to that. We are, of course, going to talk about, what happened up at Anfield. I wanted to talk about Martin Zubimendi because, you've mentioned him already, Perry. I feel like under the radar might be a bit harsh, but I feel like, his signing didn't get celebrated as much as, say, Victor Gyokeres. And I get the reasons why, because Victor Gyokeres is number 9, etc., etc. And Zubimendi, kind of everyone knew it was happening before it happened. But since he's come in, he's scored 6 goals in 34 appearances for Arsenal across all competitions. And that's as many as his final 2 seasons at Real Sociedad combined. So something's happened since he's come in where he's found his scoring boots, and I'm so here for it.
Yeah, I think what it is, it's just the way that he seamlessly just gone into that holding midfield player position. Do you know what I mean? And what he does is, when Thomas Partey was at his best, he was unreal. Do you know what I mean? Because he was physical, he could pass it through lines, play. And again, you're looking at that holding midfield player, but actually Zubimendi is a level up because he passes it, he sees it. He's not the physicality, but he doesn't need to because he reads the game so well. If you watch him, he's got so many times where he might just, like Declan Rice does, he might just have the Inspector Gadget leg where he just gets a little toe in or he gets round or he knocks the player off balance. But then what he does is, if you see him, he's always looking to go forward. It might only be 10, 20 yards, but that's his first look, to go into the forward or go into the wide men. So the goals, I must admit, the goals are a massive bonus. Do you know what I mean? Because even if he hadn't scored his goals, Arsenal fans will see him going, wow, what a player he is. What was he, 60, 65 million, whatever? And the other thing is, he's won for Spain. If there's a winning in him, there's that winning mentality where things going on around him. When he came on in the Euros final for Rodri, there was no drop-off, do you know what I mean? Yeah. And he's like, don't worry, I'm here. I call him like the Mr. Wolf. I'll solve all your problems. It's right, it's not a problem, innit? I'll just solve your problem, we'll be all right. Yeah, so, it's just been, the recruitment's has been very good.
No adjustment period as well. You often hear this kind of narrative of players need time, don't they? If they're coming from the Spanish league or whatever, they need time. But Zubimendi has come straight in let's be honest, in a difficult position to play, I think, because as we saw against Manchester United, if you make a mistake in that position, often it can be fatal. Zubimendi's just come in and he's doing his business.
Nick, you said it there, he's been doing his business. Obviously, you mentioned Man United. I think he did that against Spurs. That's just something for him to learn. But I always think if you're an Arsenal player, you must love playing for him. He relieves pressure. He's always available for the pass. As Perry said, he's always trying to progress it. Because he's always smiling and he's not the biggest and most physical midfielder, I don't think people give him his credit for how much he wants to get stuck into that side of the game. Similar to Declan Rice, Mikel Arteta is getting even more out of him. Goals, assists. I think he's a complete midfielder in the making, and I genuinely think he's one of the best 6s in the world, and you could see why there's been a pursuit and a clamour for him. As you said, Nick, the saddest thing with Zubimendi is we knew it was happening for a while. We was chasing it for a couple of years. I guess he's, on paper, I don't think he's the sexiest kind of footballer for fans to get excited about, but he's a thinker's man's footballer. His footballing IQ is of a different ilk, and I actually don't think we've seen the best of him yet. I think next season, whatever you think you like about Zubimendi, it's going to go up the gears. As an Arsenal fan, I'm proud for him, and I'm a pleasure to have him.
It'll be a big, great quiz, wouldn't there? The best players were called Martin. Seriously,
there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Yeah,
we've got both of them playing for us. Martin Hayes, my old ex-teammate.
I'm trying to think.
There you go. See, I'll leave it with you.
Martin Keown.
There you go.
Be my one.
Sorted.
How could I forget? Martin Keown.
Can't forget him.
By the way, he'd have looked for you and found you if you forgot. Martin Keown. Trust me.
Don't want him
looking like Liam Neeson off. Was it Taken? I would find you.
What's interesting about one of our other Martin, Zubimendi, just go back to him, is before he scored the goal, there was a tackle on him from Robbie, wasn't it? I think it was, and it was quite a bad tackle. Some Arsenal fans were saying that Robbie should have seen red for it, but it could have been very different for Zubimendi. He was quite lucky in that the tackle wasn't on a planted foot, for example, because that could have led to a serious injury. I mean, a couple of minutes later, he goes down the other end and scores.
I think as well, when you're playing, you get a feeling, I think you ride it as well, do you know what I mean? So you make sure that you're off balance, because if you're balanced and your feet are planted, you're in banging trouble. I think what you do is you get a sense and you sort of just went with it, do you know what I mean? So, but he's just a very, very intelligent footballer.
Do you think, CJ, the way Sunderland set up against us, because obviously Perry touched on it a little bit earlier on, just in terms of so many teams are coming to Arsenal now and just low block, and then we're being called boring because we're scoring from set pieces or, whatever. Sunderland didn't necessarily set up a low block. They were just organised and they pressed really well. But essentially, it was to their detriment because we won the game 3-0. So do you expect more low block as we go forward, or do you expect teams to maybe try and come out?
I mean, we've been dealing with low and deep and mid blocks for years now. This isn't something new this season, and it's only going to continue. And you're right, people call us boring. It feels like we're one of the only teams that want to play football. Credit to Sunderland because they respected us where they should. They had a go in other kind of ilks. They pressed very well. I think in the first half, they were kind of getting through our midfield a bit too easily. And that's why I'm happy with Zubimendi screamer, because I have kind of seen games like that at Arsenal and you're hoping for a bit of magic. We obviously saw that. Second half, the floodgates kind of open, tired legs, the game state's a bit different. It's not the same, but it was almost identical to against Leeds. I think there's a bigger conversation to have against football. Like, how many entertaining football games do you see? It's all low blocks and mid blocks and like chess matches between managers, and everyone's trying to do throw-ins, everyone's trying to take advantage of dead ball scenarios. So I know the media will focus on like it being an Arsenal thing, but it's a wider thing in football, definitely in this country. Look at all our games in the Champions League. There's a reason that would probably be a bit more entertaining for Arsenal fans than in the Prem. So I think, people won't be kind and it will all be about Arsenal, but it's definitely just something in the wider game. It's where we're at the moment.
Do you know what I said about David Raya having a bit of sort of bar of soap moment? But he pulled off a big save in the second half. When we were 1-0 up and Talby cuts in, he has a brilliant save low down to his left-hand side. So we've got, which I think, one of the best goalkeepers in the world. But I don't want to put a jinx on it because now he'd probably throw one in against Brentford.
God forbid.
But he pulls off big saves at big time, do you know what I mean? So sometimes that just gets forgotten about a little bit because, again, if they go 1-1, then it gets really nervy.
Different game.
Exactly, yeah. So he pulled off a big save against Talby.
Shout out Raya.
Right, I know this is inside Gooners, but we do need to talk about what happened at Anfield. When I found out that I was doing this show and Liverpool went 1-0 up, I was thinking this is going to be a completely different vibe and show compared to what it is now, because obviously it did finish 2-1 to Manchester City. Big celebrations, Perry, and you can kind of understand why, because it's not... I know it's only 3 points and blah, 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 but it's what it can do for Manchester City, the springboard and the belief that comes from a result like that.
Yeah, massive. Psychologically, what it does for a player and the fans and Pep Guardiola gives Man City a massive lift, because Arsenal fans, all the neutrals have said if it's 9 points, the title is over. But Arsenal fans have been, no, we still got to chalk the games off. Do you know what I mean? So other fans can be relaxed about it, but Arsenal fans couldn't. But let's be honest, if it would have been 9, we'd have been... Oh, tell you what, that gives us a proper buffer here. We've got more space for a little bit of a wobble. I didn't think Man City played that well, to be honest. They played well first half. Second half, Liverpool were at them. And when they scored, you really couldn't see Man City get themselves back in it. But you have to give them credit because they found a way. They dug it, like we did up at Newcastle. But our performance against Newcastle was good. But they found a way of getting themselves out of trouble, which they did. This Man City side hasn't got the aura of the previous title-winning Man City sides. They're in a real rebuild, and you can tell in games, Spurs reserves come back from 2-0 down and got to 2-2. That doesn't happen against Man City sides of old. Yeah. But the momentum shift from them and the belief that it will give them will be absolutely massive. Even though their performances haven't been pretty convincing, it's still they got that out of nothing. And everybody watching it, when it was 84 minutes Liverpool, as we spoke before, the worst ways out, you're looking at it thinking, well, they might nick a draw here. And then it's 8 points, and 8 points again gives you that little bit of calmness. But it's in our hands. So, again, beginning of the season, you just snapped your hands off, wouldn't you? Said you're 6 points clear of Man City.
In February as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
What about you, CJ? How are you feeling today? We've had a little bit of time to, take stock and think about it. In the immediacy, I was absolutely gutted. But, still looking at it, we're still 6 points clear looking at the league table. And, to be, as Perry rightfully points out, to be in that position in February, at the start of the season, we'd have been well up for that.
You'd have bit your arm off for it, man. Perry summed up everything, so there isn't much more I can add. All I would say is, obviously, when Szoboszlai scored, you're all thinking, 9 points, I don't want to get complacent, but it's all right type of thing. Again, going into the weekend, we knew it was a 6 point gap. We've come out of that weekend in a 6 point gap. All we can do is control the controllables. I do think a lot of social media fans have taken the whole 9 points thing and thinking it's a reality. That was contingent on, obviously, Manchester City dropping points. The one thing I would say about City is, whatever way I shape it, however the game went out, that's a massive psychological boost to winning at Anfield, because I do think if you looked in that dressing room, had they have lost, they would have thought, it's kind of over and whatnot. But you could see the celebrations. Arsenal, the only team not allowed to celebrate. Haven't heard anything about City at Anfield, but that's a massive boost. As Perry said, I think in the last 2 weeks, City can be got at. The very fact that they can be got at and they look vulnerable, but they're still in the title race, speaks volumes of City. At the end of the day, we've got 6 points. All we can do is put the left foot in front of the right, focus on Brentford and so on and so forth. You lot know yourselves, we've got the North London derby, we've got Chelsea, we've got that Wolves game brought forward. Just keep doing what we're doing. As Mikel Arteta said, just enjoy it. As I think Declan Rice said, if you want to go down in Arsenal history, you've got 4 months to do it. So let's enjoy it, man. This is the realm we wanted to be in when Arteta took the role. These are the conversations we wanted to be in. We was talking off camera about potentially if the Champions League draw, we could play City a gazillion times. So let's just keep going, man.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
Do you know what you said about celebration, CJ, there, right?
Yeah.
We got criticised. John Terry slaughtered us, didn't he, for celebrating like the semi-final League Cup win. Right, I was pleased that it was a celebration, and in the stadium, it was massive.
Yeah.
Because you celebrate because you're getting through to a final. Now,
Exactly.
if we win the League Cup or FA Cup and we don't win the Premier League or Champions, we're still going to get a load of stick, quite rightly so, because we want to win one of the big ones, right? But John Terry criticising celebrations, I thought was so ironic. No, seriously, from a player that celebrated his team winning the Champions League when he didn't even play in it.
And
you're
put on
like,
his shin pads.
have a little bit of awareness. Calm, exactly, full kit, right? You're like, calm yourself down, mate.
Yeah,
You're having a
relax.
go. And this is why, but in football, I thought it was brilliant because the League Cup is a little bit, sort of for the bigger teams, understandably earlier, it's a little bit derided. It's like, it's not a priority. I thought that actually made the stature of the League Cup even more. So you've got the 2 best teams in the Premier League at the moment playing in a League Cup final, which now, when we're playing in semi-finals against Chelsea, you're like, all right, it's not really, I've got to be honest, it's not a priority. I'm more worried about winning the league. Now, that takes on massive proportions now, that League Cup final. Massive.
Because of the Premier League as well.
Exactly.
Stevie win that,
And
that's a massive,
psychological,
psychological boost. Man.
Yeah, and just beating City, you know, like you said, CJ, we've got to play them potentially numerous times. If you get one over on them in March in the League Cup final, we're playing them in the league in April, right? You know, psychologically, and that game's at the Etihad as well, so that's going to be a tough game. But, you know, they fear us anyway because we saw how they played against us at Emirates.
Yeah,
you know,
hooked Haaland.
Was that Pep Bassett, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like 4-4-2.
Yeah.
That's it.
most crazy low block
Yeah.
you've ever seen.
Full circle moment.
And so, you know, if we beat them in the League Cup final, that game at the Etihad, I mean, I'm looking at that thinking that's a title decider, sure.
Yeah.
That's a final in itself, arguably.
Long way away though, boys.
Yeah. Left foot in front of the right.
Exactly.
All right, well, let's do that then,
Yeah.
because I've got City's next 5 fixtures here and I've got Arsenal's next 5 fixtures. And, you know, I'm not going to ask you, you know, how many points we're going to get from
Have
each
not
one.
got a clue.
Yeah.
No, seriously, I swear on my life, I have not got. I know we play
Facts.
Brentford Thursday. I know we play Wigan. After Wigan, I haven't got. When you was playing, I had no idea we were playing in 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
time.
Well, it's
Not at all.
just Premier League fixtures here, but I'm just going to ask you
Right.
how you feel about each set, you know, rather than asking you the points. So City's next 5 are Fulham at home, Newcastle at home, Leeds away, Forest at home, West Ham away. That's their 5. Right. Our 5, Brentford away, Wolves away, Tottenham Hotspur away, Chelsea at home, Brighton away. So we're only at home once in the 5. So how do you guys feel about it? Who wants to go first?
We had a period of that where we had, I think it was 4 away games on the spin,
Well,
and
like
we
December,
won.
January.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
won
yeah,
3 and drew
yeah,
1, didn't we?
yeah,
Yeah. So, it is honestly, it is what it is. Like you could, but the only thing, maybe, again, I don't want to put the mockers on it, but you could say that if you're playing Wolves or Burnley, they're games you look at and you say, by the way, they should be winning them. Not all the other games you mentioned. Every other game has jeopardy in it. Every single one. Now, where it's a team, because the middle tier of the Premier League is the strongest it's ever been now. Like you've seen with Bournemouth, even though they went on a little run. Bournemouth again when they played against us, they've still got chances of beating you. So all of those games, if you're not at it, then there's a little slip up coming in there. So it's. All I know of our running is we have 2 of the top 6. We only have 2 of the top 6 teams to play. So, and people go, it's an easy running, and you think, well, did you see our first 6 games?
Yeah.
So it ebbs and flows during the season. Do you know what I mean?
Every team gets their period. Yeah.
And going away from home, the games are going to be more open because the teams can't play the same tactics as what they do because they're more expected to come and give you a game. So, I must admit, the away games they don't really. Well, obviously that mob up the road is the one where it doesn't matter where both teams are in the league, but it does. Do you know what I mean? Because if they're still in a bad run, you score against them at their place first. That's going to be proper toxic.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Big time, especially because, what's going on with the gaffer
Exactly.
there and everything, you know what I mean?
might get
I'm just
sacked.
looking at the City fixtures here and, I know it's not the same Manchester City as you've said, Perry, that we've seen in previous seasons, but I'm just looking at the fixtures and I can't see them dropping points here. Fulham at home, I think they'll win that. Newcastle at home, I think they're going to win that because Newcastle are just...
They're not very good away from home at the minute. Yeah.
They're just not having a great season either, are they? Leeds away, I know people go Ellen Road's a tough place to go, but,
You'd reckon City edged that one.
We rolled them over, do you know what I mean, at Ellen Road. Forest at home, Forest having a bad season, and then West Ham away, I mean... I think
again, Forest are scrapping for their lives.
A couple of them teams.
And we saw Forest.
I hope you guys are right.
No, but you're saying, but then, logic, Forest against us. You'd think we go to Forest, they defended for their lives, and they get, which is a good point for
I remember Wolves as well.
There's no reason that they could. West Ham, they're in a really decent run through the last 4. So they could be playing West Ham at the wrong time. If they were playing West Ham 3 months ago,
right off.
you go, that's done and dusted. I expect West Ham to get themselves out of trouble. So there's still games there where you can draw. But I've got to be honest, it doesn't matter. No, because it's down to us.
we do.
Exactly. Yeah. So if they get 15, if they do, you go, happy days, good for you. But that means we've got to do the same thing.
Yeah, man. I'd say for Arsenal, just calm down, just keep doing what you're doing. Don't watch what other people are doing. Just keep winning your games. 6 points gap is, in the grand scheme of things, not the biggest, but you do have that gap. Just keep moving. Obviously, and that's where I think the psychological boost with City comes into it, winning at Anfield, because you look on paper, on one hand, they should be steamrolling all of those teams. But there could be banana skins. Even games where City have won this season, they have kind of been in a bit of trouble. Like I remember Brentford and Crystal Palace away, and a couple of the teams you mentioned, they're fighting for their life. So hopefully they can get results against them. For us, it makes it exciting, relish it. We've got 2 of the big 6. They've got nothing really to play for per se this season. They'd love nothing more to derail us. So just use it to drive us. We've come so far. We've dealt with a lot of tests. Just relish it. As Arteta said, in my opinion, this seems like the most enjoyable part of the season. So let's just go out there and keep doing what we're doing, man. Obviously, if you're City, you're thinking, 6 points, Arsenal's run. Maybe if they drop it to 3, maybe their nerves. Every now and again, you see Haaland and Bernardo Silva have a bit of a dig saying they've seen it before. So if I was in that Arsenal dressing room, just use that and just prove these people wrong, man. So we got a parade to do, mate.
Yeah, and I like the sound of that. and just before we move on to our match preview for Brentford as well, I think I saw Rory Talks Football, who comes on the show, friend of the show. I think he said that after this round of fixtures, or the next round of fixtures, we play first in every game, I think. So do you think that will have any kind...
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
right,
and anybody says it doesn't. Obviously, Man City play first this week, and we play Brentford on the Thursday. If Man City win, it does. It just ramps up that little bit of pressure. It takes away that little safety net you've got. And say all you can do is focus on you. That is it. Do you know what I mean? So Man City are waiting for us to slip up. So they're more concerned about us than what we should be about them. So
we've got a target on them.
Yeah, and all it is like as CJ said, you're playing for a massive club. There's pressure anyway. But this is the pressure that you want. This is where we've been building for the 5 full-year seasons we've had under Arteta. This is where we are now. And this is why the players, a couple of them have signed long-term contracts, because they have a look around and they think, actually, this could be the start of something, but it's the first one. The first one's the hardest. But it does make a difference if you're playing first, just to ramp up that little bit of pressure.
Well, now it's time to look ahead to another busy week for Mikel Arteta's side as we travel to Brentford on Thursday before a return to the FA Cup on Sunday at home to Wigan. So let's talk Brentford first and foremost. I look at this game, CJ, as a real banana skin away at Brentford, and they've surprised me this season. I am not afraid to say on the show that, during Transfer Insiders in the summer, I did shows with Rory Jennings on talkSPORT, and I was big on Brentford getting relegated.
Most people had them in the relegation battle, without a shadow of a doubt.
They've surprised me big time, and this is a massive game for me.
It's a massive game, Nick. I mean, Brentford are a very well-run club. You know, they're one of the most forward-thinking clubs in the league. To be fair, a lot of the traditional top six couldn't lose their manager in Thomas Frank at their time. Their captain in Norgard, Starman in Visa and in Buemo, and actually do better with their recruitment and everything they're doing. You know, so shout out to Keith Andrews. They're actually in a chance of qualifying for Europe. So this isn't going to be a given. As you said, it is a potential banana skin. As Perry said as well, you throw in the extra flavour of us knowing exactly where we stand owing to the City game. It's not going to be easy, but if we really want this and we show our true quality, we've got nothing to fear, man. I do think it's going to be end-to-end. It's going to be a bit nervy. We might have to see a Kai Havertz or Gyokeres kind of late winner. We have to be braced for long throws and things from them. It's going to be a difficult game, man. It might not be the biggest seller of a game or the highest ticket sales, but this is an impactful game. And I looked into this game week of Sunderland and Brentford because they're both in a very good moment and everything. We're challenging and saying, if we could get through this, I won't go as far as to say we're going to win the league, but it's a massive hurdle to climb. So Thursday, we know what we need to do.
Do you know what? It's going to be physical. You know,
exactly,
yeah. And all I want from the centre half, obviously Saliba and Gabriel, is Robbie played really well for Sunderland against us because he was physical, he was backing in. And if you remember, Saliba got booked where he, like, Robbie turned. And I'm sitting, and what you should be is you want to be tight, but you don't want them to fit. You have to be what they call touch tight. You have to just come half a yard right. Thiago is a very similar sort of player.
And in great form.
He's got better finishing ability than Robbie at the minute. But when we're there and it's going to be physical, you don't want to be giving away silly free kicks in around like the 18-yard box or getting yourself an early yellow card. So they've got to be a bit cuter in not getting as tight. And the other thing with Brentford, obviously they won their first Premier League game, was against us when it remember the long throws where it bounced in the middle 6-yard box. But since then, we haven't lost against them. And I think the last 3 away games we've had at the G-Tech, we've won all 3 with like a 7-1 aggregate. So we know what you're going to get there. And the other thing as well, don't give away stupid throw-ins.
I was about to say the throw-in.
Because the throwing is back on, is on vogue now, which I think is brilliant, right? Yeah, but let's be honest, there we go. Fans loved it because it gives you like excitement. When the ball's gone into the box, it gives you jeopardy. And couldn't back it's Chaos Coyote, by the way.
Yeah.
No, because he has got a proper long throw.
I'm talking.
It's low, isn't it?
Exactly, he launches it, and the trajectory. So someone made a career out of a long throw, so I know about long throws. His trajectory is unreal.
Ridiculous.
You're talking middle of the 6-yard box. Do you know what I mean? So you just got to make sure that you don't give away. I know it sounds silly, but you don't give away silly throw-ins or silly free kick. Exactly, yeah. So it's got to be discipline. Yeah, that's what it is.
Well, Gyokeres obviously in fine form again, 2 off the bench against Sunderland. Do you expect him to come back into the starting 11, CJ?
It's a weird one because...
Come on, CJ, come on, get on the Gyokeres.
I am on the Gyokeres train, man. I am, but it's like against Leeds and against Sunderland, him off the bench has been kind of working, or impactors off the bench have been working. You know what, start him. You can't not start him. I mean, he's in a good moment. He's purring. There's probably an element of fitness because he didn't start at the weekend against Sunderland. To be fair, I like Gabriel Jesus. That did bewilder me a bit when he started. I think, start him. Perry's converted me.
It's got to be one of Gyokeres or Havertz up front. It's got to be one of those two because you've got to be able to go long. Because Keith Andrews has got them so well set up.
Balls,
trust me. And they've got good quality. Like Sharda, obviously, Ouattara, who's scoring big goals as well.
They've got big players, man.
And the other thing as well, again, we go back to the game at the Emirates. David Raya pulled off one the save of the season. I think it was Sharda's header. You remember he touched it full length over the right, and that's 0-0. So they're always going to be a threat. And you said there, them lying 7th in the Premier League, Keith Andrews, if that stays like that until the end of the season, he has to be in the running for manager.
100%.
He's done so well, yeah. I mean, fair play to him and to Brentford as well. They always manage to recruit really well as well, Brentford.
Very well-run club.
Yeah, very, very well-run club. Just in terms of finishers, actually, you were talking about Gyokeres, because I don't know where I sit with him coming back into the starting 11. And I only say that, not because he doesn't deserve it, because obviously 2 goals off the bench in the last game. You'd think that would determine getting back into the starting 11. But for me, his physicality and his strength when defenders are a little bit more tired, I think the reason we're seeing, I don't know, this resurgence or this form from Gyokeres is because defenders aren't as fresh and they're not up for the battle against him when he comes off the bench.
And then you throw Martinelli into that as well. It's havoc.
Yeah, but I think we need an out ball, which I say we didn't have against Sunderland because there'll be times when Brentford are not just like we're going to smash the ball long, and they've got players that play, and they will, especially being at home, they will press. without any shadow of that, because I know that we like to build up. So they'll probably even go man for man. So you see, like, midfield, I don't know if Henderson, if he plays, he tries to give him a little bit of control, whether it's Janelt or Jensen. They will go man for man for the first 10, 15 minutes. So when they do that, I want David Raya, whose delivery is unreal.
Just bypass it.
But I want him to go quicker. You know, when you put it down and then you look, you go, right, if it ain't on, the first look should be, I'm going
straight
long.
away.
Rather than centre-half split, you roll it across, then you he puts the ball, he rolls it. Because then the opposition and they get a chance to get themselves set up.
We saw Alisson do it a few times.
Yeah,
didn't
but
we?
if you go long, if you go long quicker, then what happens is, if they want to press, then they not quite as energetic, because then they sit off a little bit. And then you can start playing about. Exactly. So sounds easy, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah. Well, so that's Brentford. Then it's Wigan in the FA Cup.
Wigan chosen few.
Yeah.
That's before your time, isn't it? Bit of Northern Soul.
Right. Okay. Have you got any moves? Any Northern Soul?
Yeah. I need me lino and me.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And me talcum powder. I can do.
Someone's telling me we've got both of those. No, we don't. Unfortunately, not. The Wigan game, boys. So they're managerless at the moment after sacking Ryan Lowe, their gaffer, on Saturday. Does it make this match a little bit more unpredictable because they're going to have a caretaker in charge?
Yeah, again, it is about momentum, whatever, but it will be a completely changed team. That's what I've been. Not half and half. Played, we know Norgard will play. If Mosquera doesn't play, you know what I mean? You need the players to get their minutes. And if their attitude's right, which it has been, we've seen in the League Cup, it should be a formality. If it was away from, it's a different kettle of fish. If it was away from home, I think Wigan have lost 7 of their last 10. That's why obviously Ryan Lowe's been given the sack. And you know what's going to be is they're going to come and just sit deep and say, you got to break us down. So that's a game where I'll get nervous Thursday morning for the Brentford. You get that feeling in the stomach, which, your logic tells you we should be right if we're at it. And then you go, oh, you start thinking, well, that could go right. The Wigan game, I can actually enjoy that. Do you know what I mean? I can actually enjoy it and just go, yeah, we should go through. But I've got to be honest, it's not a massive priority. It'd be massive news like Macclesfield beating Palace if we get beat. But other than that, you just want to see...
Just do the job.
None of the big boys playing. Just just play a different team.
So you're confident as well, CJ?
Yeah,
in our second... No, I don't want to call them second stringers because we really don't have second stringers anymore. But you know what
I
mean?
We call them probables and possibles. That's all it is.
I like that one. I like that one.
Just the changed team.
Giving Arteta a run for his money with that kind of stuff. But I'm with Perry, man. It's like there's a lot of games where obviously you're emotionally invested, and not to suggest I'm not. It's Arsenal playing and whatnot, but we need to be a bit cute and clever. We've got a lot of games. This is an opportunity to give opportunities to some players who have struggled to get game time, and simply put, rest players, man. As Perry said, you want a whole different 11. If we just do our job, we've won the game. I do expect them to sit deep and not really have a goal. I don't really know where they stand with that. Are they going to sit back and damage limitation and let's just get back up to Wigan and focus on our season? Or magic of the FA Cup, are we going to have a goal? If we knock Arsenal out, it's trending. If they beat us, it's not really that deep. But I expect a decent night out, man. Afternoon out, man. I can't see any reason we can't score a lot of goals, keep a clean sheet. And more than anything, every win breeds confidence and it builds momentum. So I'm looking at every kind of possibility. So I think we've got nothing to worry about, man. I think the rotated players will do their job. We'll go through.
It is one for you. This is the first meeting between Arsenal and Wigan since the semi-final in 2014. Oh. Do either of you remember that?
Thanks for
Kim
that.
Cowstrong, isn't it? Did he score a penalty?
Went to penalties.
Yeah, Kim Cowstrong scored a penalty. I remember
Went to penalties and the gaffer, Mikel Arteta, scored. So, that's a good omen in itself. But there's a part of me that's, like you two, I want to see changes in the team and I expect to see changes in the team. And I don't think this will happen, touch wood, but, we've seen some unpredictable results in the FA Cup already this season. I don't want to fall foul of that. I want to make sure we come out the traps really quickly, get a couple of goals. And get the job done.
Do you know what the difference is? I think it's attitude. We don't have any big-time Charlies, do you know what I mean, who think that the game's going to be beneath them. So if you make... And even when we make the changes, and everybody said about the strength of the squad, there isn't a drop-off. Do you know what I mean? So even the players that are coming in, you don't look at that and go, well, that's a weakened team. You actually look at it and you go, that's still strong. Do you know what I mean? And if you look at the way, you want to play with players more regularly because you get better relationships, but the way that we play, all the players are completely geared into what Arteta wants. You know what I mean?
On the same page.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So whatever, so we've seen him, make changes in Europe, which is good. I think he is making more changes now than what he was in the past. So he's obviously learning as well, thinking, right, other players need... Like players, for instance, like Declan Rice. I want him at home in a Winnebago with his silk robe on, with
chilling,
DR on the manogram like that,
just chilling,
watching it, and doing a bit of yoga, and having a peppermint tea, and I don't want him seeing any. Honestly, I don't see him anywhere near it.
I've had a whole new insight into what Perry gets up to when he's not here at talkSPORT. Now it's time for our bet builder with BetMGM. Remember, you can download the app or head to betmgm.co.uk. And this is for the Wigan game, boys. So I am going to say over 3.5 total goals because we've just been on fire with the scoring at the moment. You know, it'd be great if those goals are all ours. But over 3.5 total goals for me. Perry, what are you saying?
It's going to be a corner fest. So I'm going to go over 8.5 corners. But Declan Rice ain't taking any of them because he ain't going to be nowhere.
He'll be at home.
Exactly.
CJ?
Nick, I'm going with Arsenal to hit the woodwork. If you're pressing me for a number, 7.
All right. Just to hit the woodwork we'll do, though, once, you know, but 7 if not. So the FA Cup, boys, we've been successful in the FA Cup. Mikel Arteta, it's the only trophy he's won for Arsenal. I want us to get a hold of this trophy again. I'm not going to lie. You know, I want us to win everything, but I want the FA Cup because within our history, it's traditionally a competition that basically got our name on it.
Yeah, exactly. Won it most times, more than any other side. My era, the FA Cup was the big game of the season. I couldn't tell you from 70 to 80 who won the old First Division, but I could tell you every team that won the FA Cup, who scored, do you know what I mean, what the score was. So, yeah, the FA Cup, for me, still has that romance. And we saw Macclesfield beating Palace. It's still, do you know what I mean, massive. And that's what the FA Cup is all about.
Yeah, and a trip out to Wembley as well, CJ.
Who doesn't want a trip out to Wembley? I mean, Arsenal fans, we've been starved of trophies. We're about to win the lot, man. Let's go and get it done, man. It's our trophy, man. Arsenal United have won it the most times. Let's put some distance between the two sides.
I like the sound of that. Right, that is all we've got time for on today's Inside Gooners. Thank you, of course, for your company, and thanks to my guests, Perry Groves and CJ, a.k.a. the Deluded Gooner. This show is sponsored by BetMGM. Download the app or visit betmgm.co.uk. 18+, gambleaware.org. Please gamble responsibly. And come on, you Arsenal!